But again, I had to decide, and perhaps this individual was a guide after all, for the guides are always trying to share something with us, to make us aware of our self-decided limitations and restrictions, so they will play roles in our experiences to point out these facets of the personal self we need to address. In this case, emotional attachment to individuals that limit us can have us boxed and contained in limited bubbles of a personal self-reality, that our process of awareness becomes curtailed as we get absorbed into the cause and effect of the exchange of emotional ideas we become involved in with our various personal self-associations with people, demonstrated here by my want for exploration and awareness, my seeing more to be more, very much secondary to the relationship with this individual in all the experiences I had with her in my childhood. This suggests why the experience, repeated many times in my childhood, a lesson unrealized, must be repeated after all, or we proceed on shaky foundations, one lesson and one step at a time. I suggest the guide was hinting at the snares of emotional attachment through relationships by exhibiting the very over-exaggerated personality traits best resembling such restricting and limiting individuals we may come across in our lives, and it was for me to see this and move beyond it. We are reminded how the guides may well be watching and assisting individuals, even if they have never heard of the new presentation or the references to the true reality. For everything is awareness, and life is always on, and demonstrating to all of us, regardless of where we have decided to position ourselves in life, or how immersed we are in our personal selves. Life and the guides always seek to make use of openings where they can assist us and nudge us along. The guides see those individuals that are potentially likely to, at some stage, soon decide to become more aware, and very likely then the guides will begin featuring in the experiences of such individuals before they even have uttered their first NUU song. For the individual was willing enough to show me more the moment I got beyond the emotional entanglement of our association, and indeed the individual always would begin as a giant, walking with other giants in this first part of the experience. Size and stature does hint at, but not always, awareness, and in this case, this is a further indication that the individual was therefore a guide, and perhaps the other giants were guides also, and perhaps a demonstration of how the new friend, who would very much have been exploring the ever unknown and taking the risk to see more, had recently decided to step back and return to the personal self. For here she now was in this opening scene, and exactly as she had been in my childhood dreams, with no interest in exploration and becoming more aware through doing so, almost like taking a step back to this position she had been in all those years ago, content with what she knew, self-convinced, and deciding to remain limited with the personal self, with her previous explorations forgotten, abandoned, and with no desire to embark on the possible adventures being offered and always available. For she surely had the opportunity, as everybody does. Here she was in this place, and could easily have accompanied me with this guide, but she was so very vacant and unreachable. She had made her choice. And then in came a group of new friends, and my father, Peter, evidently invited to partake of the awareness-bolstering walk into places unknown, readily accepting of the offer, and off we all would go. The various scenes, perhaps of a frightful nature, but the getting through creation and facing the personal self a necessity, despite how ugly things may get, or what may crawl out from under rocks we must turn over. As we become more aware, we do see the real side of creation, and it surely is not as delightfully packaged as our bubbles of personal self-agreement reality seem to display it to be. Our robot battle to claim the means by which we can proceed onward is very much how we must decide to step from a subconsciously programmed personal self, with the potential consequences that opposition to the will of the controllers that wish to keep everyone in their designed matrix in creation may result in. A personal self programmed over many lifetimes to agreement to control by the reptilians and to their created systems, that to remain with the personal self is an agreement to distortion, with cause and effect consequences, continued and escalating restriction in limited positions in creation, and an overall deterioration of the simulator as constricted consciousness causes the overall effect experience of a declining simulator. The simulator is always the effect of the consciousness, but to step out of the personal self, to no longer be a contributing factor to this demise, and to wish to stand real and become more aware, to support the is therefore, rather than destroy the all-natural environment, which is the is expressed in creation, we very much will draw the attention of the controllers, whose agendas and the agreements to them are spiraling the simulator into oblivion. The controllers will thrust forth resistance and present as the apparent enemy that must be opposed and bested if humanity is to be liberated, etc. Effectively, ideas designed to have us engage with them, to embroil us in battle and conflict, and we become then caught up in the cause and effect of the created situations. We are in agreement then with these creational ideas, because the battle enters our experience, and we embrace it, we incorporate it, we add additional ideas and emotion to it, and in by doing we sit in the encased creational personal self-reality of it. As we become more aware, we learn to navigate through creation without clinging to any of the ideas that make up its construction. We have to deal with the various causes and creations, but we don't sit in the reality of them, and so they cannot attach their taplining restriction to us and have us bound to creation. We therefore learn to not be incited into a conflict that is designed for this very purpose, to lock us into creation, and through our real awareness we have automatic protection and the ability to deal with all situations. The fear-based systems of control, with all their technology, armies, and apparent invincibility, are but paper tigers to the real awareness, which simply bypasses that which would seem very daunting to the personal self, but that which can't affect the real you, the real awareness, in any way, unless we allow it. And so it was, as we dodged and negotiated our way around the robots, clunky, cumbersome things with terrible aims. No need to battle with them, as we were never in any danger of being halted in our process of awareness, unless we decided it to be so. And the female who guided us was clearly very delighted as to our success. We had accepted the opportunity she had provided, but we had to do it. We had to take the journey, take the risk, get past the robots, and prove ourselves, prove our intent to continue on. It is very much in the doing after all, and we have to decide to first take on the adventure, then do what is necessary for its completion, and finally then into the unknown we would go, sporting our headwear that allowed us access through the stone doorway. We would then pass through the stone doorway and into whatever lay beyond. The experience would end here. All that I would see before waking was my group and I within a winding series of stone passageways, illuminated by torches attached to the walls, and we ventured onwards into the ever unknown, perchance to discover where these passages may take us, but knowing ultimately that it's all for our continued process of becoming more aware. Thank you for listening to this video, and if you want to hear more, subscribe to my channel to find further recordings and to keep you updated with all the latest new presentation videos. Duane, the great writer, is making himself available for those who want to know more and see more and be more than just having another ordinary, unaware life on this purposely poisoned planet. Create your new session with Duane, the great writer, and discuss any topic you like. Here are some examples to discuss: personal, financial, relationships, dreamers, government, 5G, GMO, chemtrails, vaccines, HARP, military, secret service, spying, subliminal taplining, conspiracy, angels, gods, fairies, ghosts, aliens, reptilians, religious, spiritual, governments, monarchy, and anything that pertains to what you are experiencing in this creation bubble, and also the real universes of real freedom. Learn to get your own answers. New sessions start at 30 minutes at $1, $1 into PayPal a minute, and can be as much time as needed. And yes, the way Duane writes his new words refers to something more than what is known here, and this is where you decide to recognize what is real now with all life, or continue on as you have, with just another personal life in an aging body form. Contact Kevin Smith UK and Dean Val USA on Facebook and YouTube. Additionally, an official new presentation club is now available, the New Awareness Club. Membership to which is $1 per month through PayPal. Click on the New Awareness website link below the description of this video, and from there navigate to the forum site and register there, which serves as a home base for the club.